Hi, it's been a while since my last upload. I am still recovering and I'm still dealing with health issues. And I guess I was in hypervigilant mode when I was making more things. I was producing a lot more art um, between like during COVID and before. And when I was living in dangerous situations, I was producing a lot because I am guessing I was on hyper vigilant mode, and I guess my body was flooded with adrenaline all the time, kind of like I was when I was a child. Um, it's still when I look back, I don't know how I achieved so well in school when I was sleep deprived and always injured and always yeah, violence every day and assaulted, not slapped and spanked like physical discipline, but abused and tortured. So I'm sorry I haven't uploaded much. Um, like because I'm in a safe place now, stuff just come up and I think to upload and I haven't because I need to rest. I need to take care of my body and I guess I have to take care of my mind. But this really has been coming to mind a lot, and this is about childhood books. Um, and I have two examples today of how I perceive things that children read differently from people who have not lived through childhood violence. Um, so the first book is The Diary of Anne Frank. In the 70s, around third grade, everybody read it um, to show how hard it life has been for some people throughout history. I never read it because at 7 and 8, even if I was in Stockholm Syndrome, I was protecting my parents. I was telling kids that I can't play with them because I have to get higher grades, even if it was my parents isolating me because they didn't want to get caught that they were abusing me, and because they did not want me to see how other people live, and because they wanted me to um, live only for them. So like achieve well in school and end up supporting them, what you know, so they never have to work. But I guess in the back of my mind, I knew that my life was harder than Anne Frank's. I wasn't hidden. It wasn't about food deprivation, although I did not eat the same as the rest of the family, you know. I didn't eat the same as them. They watched TV, I didn't, whatnot. But instinctively, somehow, a wisdom that I don't know that I didn't have experience, but that was within me, the kind of wisdom that is in everyone. I knew that I had a much harder life in third grade than Anne Frank, and I still haven't read it because life got better in many ways. I got out of the abuse, but the repercussions of my early part of my life being taken away and health issues that come with physical violence. And of course, mental health issues as well with mental violence. But yes, being lower functioning because of physical violence. I still haven't read it. I read, as an adult, I read books by Frank McCourt. I was told Frank McCourt has an abusive father and an alcoholic father. I should read him. I read Angela's Ashes and Tis, and I just, I don't know. He grew up poor, but the physical abuse, no. Um, I had a harder childhood than Frank McCourt. Um, so, I mean, walking down the street, you can't tell. But you can't tell looking at Frank McCourt. He had a hard childhood. He was, I went to that high school he taught at in the 80s. I went to Stuyvesant. So, um, yeah, I don't know if I read it like, I'm talking about the Diary of Anne Frank. How, how I would react because, I was in a mental hospital when I was 15 after going to Japan and seeing how I was lied to about how Japanese children grow up. They didn't grow up with that kind of violence and sexual abuse and the expectation of supporting their parents by becoming doctors or lawyers and giving them all the money that you make during the day and their parents pimping them at night, as I was told. So, if I read The Diary of Anne Frank and it becomes more solidified that people discount that I am a survivor, discount everything I went through. Yet believe that Anne Frank, her experience is tragic and say how strong she is. I don't want to end up in a mental hospital again. I'm not discounting that Frank McCourt or Anne Frank suffered. I'm sure they did. I mean, I know they did. But people think I have a life similar to them, right? People who believe that they are where they are in life by effort and struggle. Um, look down on me. So that's the first book. The second book is Winnie the Pooh. I read it as a child. I guess I was first, second grade, and I cried at the end when they were saying goodbye to their childhoods. I think Christopher Robin goes to school, and they have a party, him and the stuffed animals, and they bid farewell to Christopher being a little child. And as a child, I cried when I read that. But I remember, and this is a pretty clear memory, that I cried because I knew at 6 or 7 that I never would experience childhood like Christopher Robin. I never would be able to experience innocence. Um, by that time, I was already being physically abused. Before 6, I was, slapped and shoved and whatnot. But I wasn't assaulted like I did starting in 1977. But I had been sexually abused and I had been mentally abused. Um, but as a small child, I cried because I knew that that's a part of my life that I will never be able to experience. Again, I don't know how. I guess it's that inner wisdom that everybody has. It's built within us. There's some wisdom from because I was a small child and I did not know that my childhood was being stolen from me. There were teachers and adults telling me that my parents were strict, but they loved me. They were doing everything because they loved me, or to protect me. But I knew, and these these are just two examples. Um, I still don't know um how I knew, because there's been times in my life where I wanted to be like a children's book illustrator, and I've worked with children. So my intellectual self, I still not solidified that I was never innocent. I never got to lose my childhood because I never had one. Mm, You know, but I knew as a child. Um, it's a long time ago, I know, but I've been told it's a long time ago. It doesn't matter anymore. It it doesn't haunt me every minute of the day, but these are realities I'm living with. Um, I'm a woman, but I never got to be a girl or, a child of any sort. And I've been in pain most of my life, and I did put in a lot of effort. Um, I just didn't end up like others. I mean, wage theft, all these restaurants I worked at, where my bosses took 30%, 50% of the tips I earned, and I never got house pay, so they can send their kids to private colleges. Um, all the years I was at jobs where all this work was dumped on me because it's okay. These people felt it was okay to dump work on the Asian person because they have some kind of false belief that Asian people are happy to take on other people's work and smile while doing it. Um, all this. So I hope this helps people who've experienced things like me to know that they're not alone. And it also helps people who have been more privileged than people like us to realize that you're not, um, to realize that you can't judge or know everything about a person who you deem as below you. Um, a person who you believe is below you might be much stronger, much more experienced, have life wisdom, and have a lot more intellectual knowledge because they had to work harder than you, and they couldn't have the things that you have. I was gonna say indulge, but I guess having a childhood is not an indulgence. Um, I read that there, over time, I'm not the only one, of course. There have been slave children throughout history. There have been, I think, in Victoria, England, kids on the street who were like they were sex workers at age 11 and 12. Um, I think they were exploited. I know the norm is to celebrate sex work and say it's empowering, but as a person who's been sexually trafficked at age 7 on, I think starting at age 7, but it might have been earlier. My memory is all mixed up, and these memories come up to me, um, like, yeah, like 2018. I remembered one guy whose hotel room I went into, and then shortly after another guy. And I knew, but it just didn't surface to my consciousness until 2018. Stuff like that. So, um, I hope it helps. I hope it helps people who've gone through what I've been through, even a tiny bit, like, one modicum particle of an atom, that you're not alone. And for those who have had a lot more privilege than us, I hope you start to see us like as people. Um, Thank you for listening. Bye.